Hey guys, it's Mike here, and welcome to another episode of the Paid Traffic Daily. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about AdWords, negative keyword research. Now, if you checked out yesterday's Paid Traffic Daily, you would see that we actually discovered that there's actually a huge wealth of information that we actually don't get from our search terms. So if you haven't seen it, be sure to check it out. So when we are looking at our search terms and we are doing negative keyword research, you basically need a protocol. You need a protocol at which you decide to turn something into a negative keyword or keep it. So essentially, having this protocol is something that you will refer back to every single time you actually do negative keyword research. And you really need two kinds of variables. You need qualitative variables and quantitative variables. Qualitative variables are going to be describing the term itself, whereas quantitative variables you're going to set up sort of centered around different metrics. So let's say we were advertising for this expensive webcam, the Brio. I was actually just researching this to actually add to Paid Traffic Daily. So when you take a look at this, you can see that this Brio is a 4K Ultra HD webcam with HDR. It's $200, which wouldn't be right for most people. So I would imagine if I'm running negative keywords for this brand, I would want to block out anything relating to cheap or budget or low cost or sale or discounts or anything like that. And this would be an example of a qualitative metric that I would use when looking at my search terms to add to a negative keyword, to add as a negative keyword. Very straightforward here. Hopefully with your brand, you have a long list of qualitative metrics that you would refer back to every time you're opening up your search terms report. Now, when it comes to quantitative metrics, these are a little bit more straightforward. These are numbers based. I remember when I used to be a high school biology teacher, qualitative versus quantitative. Quantitative has an N in it, so it relates to a number. So in this case, let's say their CPA on this $200 webcam is $45 per sale. So they would essentially set up some guidelines. If something is not relevant, pause it. And essentially, if it's spent over 45 without a conversion, then kill it, of course. So in real life, if it's not relevant at all, then kill it. And that's kind of the qualitative finding its way down here. And you sort of use this number to sort of dictate where you're at. If something is not relevant, then just kill it. But let's say something is relevant. Do you add it as a negative keyword? This really comes down to whether your risk tolerance is high or low. If your risk tolerance is a little bit higher and you want to give a term that is relevant but maybe is outside of your KPI range, so it's already spent over $45. So in a situation like this, then maybe you put it into a new ad group and you bid optimize it. So because these are search terms we're looking at, we can't bid specific to the search term. But if you pluck it out, if you peel it out of your search terms and then stick it into a new ad group, or you stick it into the same ad group, you can start to bid optimize. So you can bid it down a little bit. You can get those same clicks for a little bit cheaper. So that's really kind of the protocol here. If it's relevant, you can probably keep it. If it's outside of your KPI range, then you can probably, again, it depends on your risk tolerance. But if it is relevant and you do have a higher risk tolerance, then you can decide to give it a chance and stick it as a positive keyword and then bid optimize it. When I say bid optimize, basically taking that relevant term and bidding down a little bit lower. Looking at these sort of qualitative and quantitative metrics that you would use to make decisions can vary. And it's something that you should do on a regular basis as you continue to learn and grow inside your account. You may find that if your conversion rate is 3%, well, that means you should at least have one conversion every 33 clicks. So then you can probably say over 33 clicks, no conversion. This is something that should get looked at. And you should come up with a protocol for it, because you know that if you all of a sudden hit 40 clicks or 35 clicks, you're already doing worse than a 3% conversion rate, even if you get a conversion right then and there. So in summary, when you are doing your negative keyword research, and you should be doing this with your search terms every 14, every 7, or every 28 days, depending on the size of your account. For a normal sized account, probably every 14 days is good, especially as we talked about yesterday, you should be doing 2 separate events of negative keyword research. But when you're looking at your search terms, there's 2 things to keep in mind: the qualitative value of the term itself. then you can make that decision whether you're going to keep it or turn it off. And then of course the quantitative side of things, what is the performance of this term actually. So when you combine these two things, you really get a good view of what kind of terms are showing up, how you should interact with these terms, and it's definitely something that is far more effective than just sort of opening up your search terms and just poking through it. Have a plan and you'll find it.